Hello, welcome to the North Shore 9 Postgame Show. I'm Connor. Joining me is Neil. Pirates lost 14-1 tonight. Mitch Keller gives up 8. Pirates strike out 10 times, only score 1 run, and we had to watch every agonizing out of it.
Yes, we did, and it was not fun. I enjoyed none of it.
No. I mean, I enjoyed it for like about 10 minutes.
I mean, you were kind of like, oh, hey, we scored a run in the first inning.
Yeah,
Wasn't
hey.
great, but then it immediately went to garbage.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing redeemable to take from this game.
No, there isn't. Like, I don't even know where to start with this one.
No, I think there's only one real place to start because he was the biggest disappointment.
Yeah, Mitch Keller.
Yeah. See, like, it's weird because, like, it was around, like, the 5th inning where I was just, like, before, like, the 3-run home run where I'm like, Mitch Keller hasn't pitched great tonight, but it wasn't really his fault they were down 5-1, I feel like he was kind of screwed out of 3 runs.
No, it was his fault. He was not missing bats. People were barreling the ball and hitting it hard. No, he's pitched badly. He pitched badly tonight.
I mean,
and they scored 8 runs off of him. It wasn't he hasn't pitched that badly after he only gave up 5.
If you break down that second inning and you decide that that's on Mitch Keller, I don't know what to tell you because, sure, first inning to Brian Hayes, that's a hard play, and then he needs to get that out. I can live with that. But infield hit, followed by, I think, a walk, and then you're playing a catcher in right field, so Henry
Davis got totally turned around on that ball.
Henry Davis doesn't catch the easy fly ball. That's not on Mitch Keller. He got the outs. He got a ground ball to first base. He got the fly out to right field.
The problem is I'm just not willing to give him the benefit of the doubt there because he was giving up hard contact all game.
I mean, Adrian Hauser gave up more hard hit balls. Like, let's be for real here. Like Keller was not good. Was he 8 innings, 8 earned runs bad? No, I don't think so. There were, at least by my count, 4 separate hits that would have been taken away if they were playing in remotely normal shifting locations. Henry Davis gets turned around. Brian Hayes makes a play, and Leo Peguero botch a play that normally they have. It's a hard play, but normally they have. Like, to me, it was not a good game, but like 8 earned runs, no, I don't think so.
I disagree. I know the defense let him down tonight, but I can't. He's pitched so bad recently that I just can't. I can't give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm done with giving people benefit of the doubt at this point. You stink. You stunk.
Yeah, I'm not saying he pitched well, but like, I think it's a highly misleading stat line.
I can agree with that to some degree.
Watching all 9 of those hits he gave up, you cannot tell me with a straight face that he wasn't unlucky with at least 4 or 5 of those.
I can at least see where you're coming from with it. And no, Bucko Mike, this is not a throwback Reds cap. It's a Crawford's hat.
Yeah,
but, I mean, it's the regression from him has been scary. In his first 10 starts, 2.44 ERA, 10 quality starts. So all 5 of them were 6 innings, 3 or fewer runs. 5 earned runs allowed 0 times, obviously, because the 10 quality starts. His last 13 starts, 5.64 ERA, 4 quality starts, and 5 earned runs allowed 5 times.
Mm-hmm. No, and like
that's bad.
Yeah, and at least from what I'm gathering, like it's kind of like a location issue because Keller's entire bread and butter, which has gotten him this far, is that he's going to attack the zone,
right,
with his array of pitches, but he was able to paint the zone a lot better. Like he would like tonight. He was leaving a lot of balls over the middle of the plate, like no matter what the pitch was, and I think that's been kind of like the common theme where like. If you're going to have to be a guy who throws balls in the zone, that's good. Like, we need people to attack the zone.
Right.
But it seems to me that there's like a philosophy of pitching here where you decrease velocity, and then you pepper the zone with strikes. And that just seems like conflicting ideas to me. MLB hitters are too good to not hit.
If they're not doing it intentionally, it's certainly a trend.
Yeah, right. And like,
which is, and I think we're at that point where it's like with the regressions that we have seen this year, both from Rowanzi, from Luis Ortiz, from Mitch Keller, it's Marine's up there. He's right up there with Andy Haynes at this point.
He surpassed Andy Haynes for me because, at least you can kind of understand what Andy Haynes is going for. I have no idea what Oscar Marine and what the pitching philosophy in this organization is besides spam slider and hope for the best.
Right, because, and to be fair, that is kind of the market inefficiency right now, that pitchers aren't throwing their best pitch the majority of the time. And the thinking is, at least the Pirates' thinking is, that these pitchers should be throwing their best pitch the majority of the time. They see that as the market inefficiency that they can capitalize on. Has it worked? No.
No, it hasn't. Especially when you neuter your pitcher's fastballs, when you get guys who specialize in fastball slider combos. And Keller's not that guy. And I think it's important to note that Keller got good by going outside the organization. His entire transformation happened going away from the Pirates. And
Correct.
So I know after last offseason, Ben Sherrington was very talked very highly about the coaching staff. I don't know how you can still be high about this coaching staff, but what I'll also add on is that these coaching staffs are not the people who are making, Oscar Marin and Andy Haynes are not the people who are making the decisions on what this organization teaches. These are just simply guys who agree. So you can get rid of them in the offseason, and I think you should get rid of them in the offseason. But unless there's a fundamental change at the upper levels of the organization on how we should approach these things, I feel like you're just going to get the same result next year.
I wouldn't go that far, but it is certainly we like this guy's philosophy. So we're going to bring him in. I think the coaches certainly have a little more input on organizational philosophy. I think that if the coaches go that, because if you agree with the coach's philosophy, I feel like you can't fire them, right? You have to, if you believe in the philosophy that they're teaching, then okay, keep them. It would be stupid, but
I think that they were hired. I think they were hired because they agreed with the philosophy the organization wants to input. I feel like that starts from the top, not even the top, the people who are whoever the head of minor league development and pitching and hitting are probably more responsible than Oscar Marin and Andy Haynes are. You know what I mean? I don't think they would just hire people and say, all right, this is what please do whatever you want. You know what I mean? I feel like they had to have some criteria there.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't in my head, I can't justify any reason that any of these coaches should be on the next flight back to Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
There's just none. Oscar Marin has to go.
Yeah.
Andy Haynes has to go. Derek Shelton probably has to go. Because no team plays this bad without the manager taking some of the blame. Because there's MLB talent on this team. Brian Reynolds, Andrew McCutchen, Henry Davis, Andy Rodriguez, this is by no means a great or even a good team. This is a bad roster. It's been a bad roster all year. But there is enough MLB talent that they should not be playing at 115 loss, 120 loss pace for 3/4 of the damn season. That is inexcusable. It's just not. There's no excuse for it. There's no excuse for the regression of Keller. There's no excuse for the regression of Brian Reynolds. There's no excuse for the wall that Henry Davis has hit that has seemingly no end. There's no excuse for him playing right field as much as he has.
Mm-hmm.
There's no excuse for any of it.
Yeah, I think I've said this for weeks now, but as probably Derek Shelton's biggest supporter or biggest defender, I won't say supporter because I think I'm pretty indifferent on the guy. While he's a scapegoat, I think, for a lot of the issues that happen on this team, if he is what has to go in order to get the bigger problems in Marin and Haynes out the door, so be it. I think it was really funny hearing Carlos Santana's talk about how much he loved Pittsburgh and how he wants to come back. And then he was on the team that just beat the Pirates 14-1. And, for even if you don't think Derek Shelton is a good in-game manager, which I would kind of dispute, but I'm not going to get into that. He certainly seems to have a way of getting guys to love being on this team despite being terrible. But again, if he needs to go, I don't care. It is for the greater good that he goes.
And that's we talked on Andy Haynes a little bit, but hold on, let me pull something up here. This is the problem with the Andy Haynes offense.
Yeah.
Andy Rodriguez is just staring at strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why are we doing this? Why?
He's swinging the balls.
That's even worse. After 6 months of this, I don't know if it feels like, has it been 6 months? No, it hasn't. But it certainly feels like I forgot how long a season is. But it's not working.
No, and I guess
taking as many pitches as you can isn't working. So why do we still do it?
Well, I don't know. I couldn't tell you why we're continuing to do it, but no one really liked the Andy Haynes hire at the time, and
I hated it.
And everyone kind of, but for its faults, it does benefit some hitters. I think it benefited Jack Suwinski. I think it benefits Andrew McCutchen. But for the vast majority of the roster, and
I'm not willing to give Andy Haynes credit for Andrew McCutchen, because Andrew McCutchen did a lot of work in the offseason to get back to where he was.
Yeah, but also I feel like because he was already a guy who naturally was big on watching pitches, I feel like he has benefit from it. But
I feel like Daniel Vogelbach fits that category more.
Oh, I agree. Daniel Vogelbach was the quintessential Andy Haynes. 100%.
And that's part of. It's part of why you see them go after, guys like Connor Joe. Connor Joe has a very good chase rate. No, he's not good at hitting.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. It's another 10 strikeout day. I don't think we're gonna break the record for most strikeouts like we did last season. But there isn't really any sizable improvement that you can look at. So, Brian Reynolds' regression, Andrew McCutchen's been better, Jack Suwinski's been better. Henry Davis, I think, after being up with the major league team, has started to hit regression. Brian Hayes hasn't improved. It's not good. The team has not hit well. They haven't hit well since April. And
there's nobody that's playing above their advertised ability, and there's nobody that has played above their advertised ability under the entire tenure of Andy Haynes, except maybe Daniel Vogelbach.
Yeah.
And that's worrying. It's beyond worrying now. He has to be fired. There's no other
Well, they're
no other
going
course of action.
They're going to finish the year with him. But yeah, I mean, not to turn this into GM wars, but something I always kept hearing is like how Neil Huntington was terrible at developing talent, and he had his struggles, especially on the pitching front. Like I'm not gonna say how they handled Tyler Glasnow and Garrett Cole were great. I'm not gonna say that. But my word, none or any of the rookies right now like really setting the world on fire, pitching or hitting wise. The only rookie that's really playing as advertised is a reliever.
Moldinsky, yeah.
But Majinski, yeah, like he is the only
Majinski, sorry.
Majinski and like Davis, over his last 25. Andy Rodriguez has not looked good in the majors. Nick Gonzalez just got sent down. Peguero, he's like the worst hitter in the world, or he's like the best hitter in the world, depending on the day. So I'm okay with him. I don't think Alika Willen is a good hitter, but like the point being is that when you look at the Reds and you look at the Orioles, the teams we're trying to emulate, right? That's the rebuild style we're going for. I don't think anyone can dispute that.
Right.
When their rookies come up, like Matt McLain and Ellie De La Cruz and Gunnar Henderson, so on and so forth, like when they come up, they're not perfect, but they're making an impact.
They're also not bad fundamental baseball players, which Peguero arguably is.
I think Peguero had the yips. I don't think he's a bad fundamental baseball player, but I think the point I'm trying to make is that these guys come in and provide.
Well, it certainly is true for
we now have half our lineup is now rookies, and the offense is still just as bad. And these are supposed to be the future. They're supposed to be the guys we can depend on. And of course, you can't judge guys after a month of playing. Like that's not how baseball works, and like improvement should happen. But it is concerning that like none of the rookies have really come up and looked comfortable.
No, they haven't.
So
there's at this point, there's just no fucking reason. I'm sorry you got to put the expletive marker on this one now, but there's no stinking reason that any of these coaches should be with the team on their flight back to Pittsburgh. It just hasn't worked. It's done worse than hasn't worked.
No, I agree. Like
it's done worse than hasn't worked for 4 years. 2 years for Andy Haynes. This is year 4 of Marine.
Yeah.
And this is year 4 of Shelton.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Well, we're trying to be as bad as possible.
We are. And it's 2023. And the Henry Davis, Brian Reynolds, Andy Rodriguez, Mitch Keller, David Bednar, everybody's here. Everybody that, most of the people that you figure to be a key piece of your future, if this is going to work, are here. The majority of the guys are here. You should not be trying to be bad.
I agree, but the organization sees it differently.
Ben Cherington is an awful general manager. This is the guy who tried to draft a player in the Rule 5 pick who was suspended. They didn't know. Because, hey, why should we know? We're just a major league front office. Not that that's our job to know such things. Not that it's our job to not protect Ryan Valade over Blake, but that
Blake's a whole. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's rough, and like for the games like this, it's hard to even commentate just because like everything went wrong. But it is like an encapsulation of like I think it's like a perfect encapsulation. Like not only do we get blown out by 13 runs, not only was the pitching awful, not only was there regression that the hitting didn't work, but it was also I think we're like 1-12 against the Brewers and the Cubs.
That sounds correct.
I could be off by a couple of games, but it's something like 1 win, 11-12 losses. Like if you want to be a competitive team, you have to beat the teams in your own division. Like that is a must.
Yeah, there's
and we have looked utterly lifeless against.
I forgot to add Rodolfo Castro to my list of regression players. Yep, that was maybe even the biggest one.
Because I don't think that was an Andy Haynes thing. I think that was just messing with his mentality type deal. But I mean, Castro's gone. I think the real problem is that, like, when you see games like this, and obviously you can't overreact to one game where you lose by 13 runs because it happens even to the best of teams. But we've been bad for a while, and so when you look at this roster, how many players really deserve an opening day roster spot next year based off of how they're playing?
Andrew McCutchen.
Sure. Brian Reynolds.
Henry Davis, Andy Rodriguez, David Bednar.
No Jack Sawinski?
Carmen Majinski. I was getting to him. Jack Sawinski. Keep Ryan Hayes, obviously. He's going to be there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just saying, do they deserve? Who deserves? Because, like, at this rate, Henry Davis, and I'm not saying Henry Davis is bad. If we're just going based off of numbers, Henry Davis is a sub 700 OPS right fielder. That is
who's a bad right fielder.
Who's a bad right? That is not rosterable. And I'm not saying Henry Davis is bad. I think he's going to be good. But whatever he needs to do, like, when he needs outside help, like, he needs to get away from this hitting philosophy, because I think it really harmed him.
I think it's who hasn't it harmed?
Yeah. And so, like, if you're just looking at
because I don't even think you can say it's helped Jack Sawinski with how damn inconsistent he's been. Can you really say it's helped him? It hasn't helped him find consistency, which is where, because it's questionable how much value he even brings, because he disappears for like 20 games a month.
See, and I don't know if people remember how bad last year Jack Sawinski got, but yes, noticeable improvement. Not even close.
It's on paper, it's a noticeable improvement, but how much value does he actually bring to the team?
Quite a lot. I mean, listen, I've said this before, but Jack Sawinski is a 30 home run hitter on pre-arb who can actually give you good defense in a corner outfield position.
Yeah, but he's not playing a corner outfield position.
I'm aware.
Subpar defense in center field.
I'm aware, but as a player, you get a lot of value out of 3 home run guys who play good defense in a corner, and they're not making any money. I don't think, at least when I look at this Pirates team, Jack Sawinski's not the problem.
He's not the problem, but he's not I wouldn't exactly call him a good part of this team either.
I mean, I also think July has been a particularly brutal month of, like, slump for Jack. I don't think it's entirely fair on, like, his entire year resume, if that makes any sense.
Well, this is just the biggest glaring example on. There are, like, he's done similar things in every month.
Oh, I know.
Of the season, except for maybe April. Except April was he started off the month terrible.
I guess, I don't know. I think Jack Sawinski is fine as for what he is. He's not the 2 WAR player, so, like, on pace for 3 WAR player that is on B WAR. He's not. He definitely is not as valuable as his OPS or his broad numbers suggest. I still think there's immense value in a guy who can walk a lot and who can hit a lot of home runs and play a good right field. I have no problem with him being on this team.
Except he's not playing right field. That's because, well, that's the other thing. So let's get into that. Henry caught today.
He did.
They brought him in when it was 14-1.
I mean, he's caught 2 innings this year.
The world did not end.
I mean, yeah.
That's the thing with Henry. He is a bad receiver. He's a bad defensive catcher. But if you never give him an opportunity there, he's never going to improve. And And you can't just not give your 1-1 catcher who has caught all of his admittedly brief minor league career, except up until this year where they started playing him right a little bit. You can't just give him 2 innings at catcher in the major leagues and then go, oh, well, we tried. You didn't try.
Well, and I'm skeptical because I remember they said about like how they're going to give him practice at catcher. I think catcher something, and I could be wrong. I'm no baseball coach. I think catcher is really something like you have to have in-game experience to be good at.
Right.
And they're in what's the word? Reluctance. The reluctance to catch, let Henry Davis catch in a season that they have no interest in competing just makes no sense to me because it sends 2 conflicting messages. Like, if this season doesn't matter, then who cares if he struggles behind the plate, right?
Exactly.
I don't get the insistence of making him a right fielder. You can cite
that's probably what he is long term.
You can cite all the arm statistics to me about how great his arm is. I don't care.
Right.
The guy looks like Gregory Polanco out there. It is not good. And you know, if you need to, especially since we don't have a first baseman. I mean, we let someone called Alfonso Rivas play first today. Split Endy and Henry, let them catch every other day, play Endy at first. Like, I don't think it's a hard solution. Right? Like, am I going crazy? I feel like the
no, you're not. You're not, because it's utterly baffling. There's no it's getting to the point where I'm just like, everybody is either incompetent or this is a giant money laundering scheme.
No, it's working. Attendance is up 30% this year.
Because I can't figure out why Hedges started for so long. I can't figure out why they called up delay. I can't figure out why they're not giving Henry a shot. You know, at least
I don't have those answers, man.
When it was 8, like, this is what I don't understand. So you bring him in when it's 14-1, but you don't bring him in when it's 8-1 in the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
What is the tangible difference between those 2 scenarios? Why are you only bringing in
a prayer of coming back from 8-1? I don't know. That's my best guess. My best guess is that they still think the game is in hand before Jose Hernandez blows up on the mound.
Like, what is the tangible difference between, if you're only going to let him catch in blowouts, what is the tangible difference between 8-1 and 14-1? Why are you only letting him catch 1 inning in the 9th when it's 14-1?
I don't know.
Is he just have they invented a new position, emergency blow up catcher? Like, is that what we're going for here? Because it seems to be what they're doing.
Well, maybe that's what he was working on in AAA in like June. You know, like really important stuff. But I mean, no, I think as much as bloviating as the front office will say that they view Henry as a catcher, I don't think they do.
No, I don't think they do.
I think the simple answer is that they do not see Henry Davis as a catcher, which okay, fine. Like, listen, if that was the case, fine. You know, I can live with that. You know, he had like not great defensive stats coming out of college. You had the worry about him being able to catch, fine. But then start him in right field as soon as he gets to Bradenton.
Right, that's what I don't understand. Because at this point, you almost have to let him try at catcher.
Yeah.
You almost have to.
You've sunk all that time in the minors. Let him catch. I mean, again, I'm not paid to make the big buck decisions. Maybe there's something going on behind the scenes that I don't know about. I can't wrap my mind around it. Makes no sense to me.
And I know, just to touch on Alfonso Rivas a little bit, I don't know what his final line was tonight, but I mean, people were really upset about him hitting leadoff, and I get it. I do. Ideally, you'd want to see almost anybody else there. I'd rather see Hayes there. I'd rather see Andy and Leover get there. Just to get the O'Neill Cruz treatment of just getting those guys as many at bats as possible. I don't think Davis really needs that approach right now. I think he's, I don't think he needs the extra, 1 at bat or 3 at bats a week. The problem, I don't know. I can't bring myself to get that upset about it because it's what they have. It's what Sherrington gave Shelton.
Yeah.
And while I would much rather see Andy or Leover hit there, let's just be honest with ourselves. A guy who's a 260 career hitter with a 350 on base versus righties and only 300 plate appearances is in the conversation for leadoff hitter on this team. That's how bad they are.
I think
if you're legitimately trying to win games, that a player like that is in the conversation for leadoff.
You know what, man? I'm sorry. Like, we are 11, 12 games under 500, something like that. It's been a miserable 3 months. I cannot even begin to get the energy to get mad that Rivas batted leadoff today.
Yeah. No,
if it becomes a trend, maybe I'll get a little.
Well, that's the thing. We know it's not going to, because they never stay consistent with their lineups, which is my bigger gripe about the lineups. But
yeah, I not only do I think lineup placement is over complained about, you cannot get me to get mad about something like that.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's so inconsequential when you look at the big picture.
And obviously Alfonso Rivas was this was his first game with the team. Nick Gonzalez was optioned down today, so that's its own can of worms. That guy.
Well,
man.
If anything, I think my one thing we'll say is that having Alfonso Rivas bat lead off in August in what's supposed to be the year that you're turning the corner, maybe is a sign from above that you shouldn't trade both Santana and Choi. But this is not the post-game show, the post-deadline show, so I'm not going to really go too hard into that.
Yeah, for what they got, it just wasn't worth it for 2 more months of unwatchable baseball from first base.
Yeah, I mean, G-Man Choi was so much fun. And he's gone, unfortunately, but I don't think serious teams who want to make this next jump next year are playing Alfonso Rivas at first base.
Well, that's the thing. I'm positive that if he hits 280 down the stretch, he's going to be their primary option rolling into 2024, because this is what they do. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Everybody's going, oh, well, they've got to go outside the organization for this. No, they don't. We saw it with Yoshi. They're perfectly okay with rolling with. I really thought, because from the conversations I had, I was under the impression that Ben Sherrington acquired G-Man Choi and Carlos Santana because he really didn't want a repeat of the absolute disaster that was 2022 first base. Now, Alfonso Rivas isn't quite Yoshi Tsutsugo tier. He isn't quite Josh Van Meter tier. But man, it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
So he's perfectly okay with it being the same exact. He's perfectly okay with being a similar disaster that it was.
Well, I'll tie us back into the game kind of, because I've had this gripe before, but the complete lack of urgency in the front office. But usually I don't get mad about this, because usually I want the vibes to be good. But I was my inner boomer was coming out today, seeing all the Pirates players just smiling the entire game through as they were just getting beaten to a pulp. I saw Kutch smiling, Hayes smiling, I saw Rivas smiling. I'm like, guys.
Yeah, this ties back into Derek Shelton, right? Mm-hmm. Because I don't think a team that's this bad should be fun to be on.
That's fair.
If Derek Shelton is like, oh yeah, guys, this is all right, we're all having fun here, he's not the guy that I want.
No, I think that's a fair criticism of Levy toward Sherrington is that toward Shelton for sure. That like I guess like there's something to be said about too positive of a clubhouse vibe. But I think it completely stems from the top of like the players aren't stupid. They know that the front office doesn't care, and you can be as competitive as you like. You're still human, and you're still going to know that. So why would you care?
Yeah, it's just like Mitch Keller was bad tonight, but I can't imagine how hard it would be to, go out there and because realistically for a pitcher, you're risking your career every time you go out there.
Mm-hmm.
You never know when you're gonna blow an arm out. And it's just I can't imagine how hard it would be for Mitch Keller to be like, all right, my goal is to throw 7 innings tonight, and I'm gonna be throwing 98 in the 6th inning.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine, having that mindset on a team that cares so little.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and apparently I've heard like Shelton is like way different behind the scenes, where like he will ream players out privately, but it certainly doesn't show on the field.
No.
No, again, like, and it kind of goes back to my gripe. I don't want to bring up Rodolfo Castro again, but man, I wish other people were held responsible like Rodolfo Castro was.
Oh yeah. No, he's the only person that was publicly held responsible for anything. And even he wasn't even benched.
Mm-hmm. He was sent to the Shadow Realm.
Well, no, after the phone incident, he played the next day.
Oh, right. The phone. Okay, yeah. No, he was sent to I don't even know what happened. He got sent to the Shadow Realm when he had an OPS over 800. So clearly something must have been going on.
Yeah, I don't. There had to be, unless they were just that incompetent, which I wouldn't put it past them.
That's fair. But I think I've surmised. I think with that thought, I think I've surmised my thoughts on this game.
Yeah.
If you're losing by 10 runs, you should not be smiling through it all.
I love this comment.
I think we can all agree with that. But yeah, like I didn't even pay to go watch that game, and I feel like I want a refund. Like, pretend like you care. Don't be smiling. At least Henry Davis looks pissed off every time he makes a mistake.
Reynolds looks miserable.
Well, he just looks like Reynolds. That's what Reynolds looks like.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of what he looks like all the time, isn't it?
Like, Reynolds has no emotions. That's just who he is.
Yeah, I get the feeling that like his life is nothing but like his family, baseball, and bourbon. There's just nothing else.
And you know what? Godspeed to him. That sounds fantastic.
It does. It would be fantastic if the baseball element wasn't the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah. Well, at least he gets to travel a lot.
Yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts?
No, it's so hard to do one of these in whatever August 3rd of 2023 without it just completely flying off the rails.
Yeah.
And I feel like I did a really good job containing my like screaming, throwing chairs energy. Kenny doesn't get his wish tonight. I'm not the first person to throw a chair on the post game, but I was pretty close there.
I'm too mentally checked out, like, to care to get mad at this point. Like, I watch, but like in terms of getting emotional, not happening. It's for my own good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. Be warned, Jim jump scare incoming. You got anything else to say?
Nope, I'm good. We'll all be back here tomorrow, though.
Well, not us. Oh, not sorry, me. Not me.
We will all be back watching tomorrow. We will all be watching the Pirates because
no, we won't. No, we won't. Yes, we will.
I can't help myself.
All right, let's get out of here.
All right.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.